What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a wicked day and welcome back to the videos, where today we don't have the RX-7, which I completely glanced over in the last couple of videos and didn't even make a video that I'd sold it. I feel like I owe you all a little bit of an explanation as to why that car went, and like all my previous car sales, I don't know, the way the world's currently going, I don't know. Me and Sarah wanted to try and get a house in the future, and I thought the best way to make that dream happen is to get rid of this car right now, which is a huge investment for myself. That car was worth around $90,000 to $100,000. I don't know, it's just, I left it in the garage and it was coming to the point where, you know, the car kept going up and up and up, and I wasn't wanting to drive it, and I'd only take it out if it was like, if the conditions were perfect and it was like a sunny or overcast day and no rain and there was no traffic, which limited me to a very, very slim number of days that I would take that thing out. And it was just a beautiful car, but I don't know, one thing led to another. Jason wanted to do a giveaway on it, so we made it all happen. You guys all saw it, and the car's now back in its hometown of Sydney. And I picked up this beautiful EVO 6 GSR, and can I just say, I am one very happy Zachy right now. This car is incredible. So I thought today we could do a little bit of a walk around on my brand new EVO 6 GSR, because we've currently just made a video of me getting the car, which gave you guys no information whatsoever, because I'd only just seen the car as well myself, so there is no way you guys got enough info about this thing. And then we did a rip through the mountains, which was the third day that I had this car. And once again, I gave you guys no info as to what this car is. So today we're gonna do a full walk around of this car. I'm gonna tell you guys about every single modification that it has and what we're gonna be doing to it in the future. I have some boxes down behind me, which is probably gonna be in the next video, but I don't know, I'm enjoying myself. So this right here is my EVO 6 GSR. So it's not the Tommy Mackinnon. A few people have said that it looks very similar to the Tommy Mackinnon. It looks very, very similar. This has a few things on it that the Tommy Mackinnon doesn't, and I don't know. I kind of, the reason behind this car is I want to have a little bit more of an aggressive track car and just a nicer weekend car. Plus, Sarah and I want to start going up to the snow around Melbourne, so that is where the EVO came into it, because it's going to be a beautiful all-wheel drive snow car. Plus, it's going to be a little bit of an aggressive track car. Plus, it has so much more room in it than my BRZ. So it weighs the same as my BRZ. It's nice and big. It has so much room in it. It's a 4-door turbo. Once again, going back to my roots of the original YouTube. And yeah, she's just a good looking car. Alrighty, so let's start from the back here, work our way to the front. I'm going to run you guys through some things that I've seen already that I'm going to be replacing on the car to make this thing absolutely perfect. But aside from that, let's get into it. So first of all, we have the rear end. This thing is beautiful. It's curvy. It's amazing. We have this beautiful EVO 6 wing up here, and it looks incredible. I have been driving this thing around, and the rear wing, I keep mistaking it for a car that's in my blind spot when I'm shoulder checking, because the end plates on it are so big. I've never had such an aggressive wing on a car, and it is so proportionate to the EVO itself, but it is a massive, I feel like an absolute dick driving this thing around, and I love it. I see so many Lancers driving around with the massive wings, and all your FEVO people out there like Mike Lake that's getting it into these people's heads that it's okay to have an EVO 6 wang on a Lancer. I can't even come back at that because I look sick. So we have these tail lights right here, which is just exactly the same as I believe a Magna or a regular Lancer. It's got a little bit of like cracking through the lenses, which is one of the first things I picked up on, but realistically it's not too bad. It's just a little bit of sun fade. But we will be getting them brand new, polished up. We're going to be getting rid of these crusty old plates soon because they're all horrible. So moving around to the side, we have these incredible R33 GTR wheels. Yep, they look incredible. They've been painted in this like gunmetal gray, which I really like. He actually did this very recently, so they actually look really, really nice. However, I'm thinking about potentially getting it all taken back and then taking it back to that raw finish that they had originally. Because he sent me a few photos of what it looked like on the raw finish, and it looked incredible. Plus, we also need to raise the car because she's chewing up the tires a bit, but that's all right. This little pipe piping thing here also needs to get changed out because it is definitely not a genuine EVO piping thing. Plus, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a few little sections of the actual car that has been repainted. So I believe it's this one over here. So this one here where the Lancer badge was, you can see it's got a few little runs. It's like someone's tried to take the Lancer badge off and just absolutely cook the paint. Same as this one right here. So we're going to be getting new Lancer badges all around and Mitsubishi badges, plus the piping, and we might even see if we can fix up the paint while we're at it as well. I've done my first mods to the car. I got some better tint. As you guys can see, it is so much nicer to look out of this thing right now. I went with some 18% tint, did it myself the other day. I didn't film, I'm sorry, I probably should have done that. But if you guys all want to get tint done here in Melbourne, definitely jump over onto the Dr. Tint page. He hooked it up. He actually allowed me to tint my own car once again in his workshop, which was amazing. So a massive, massive thank you to Dr. Tint for allowing me to do that. And yeah, he also allowed me to use Oz films, which I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a huge fan of Oz window films. It's what I've had on the BRZ, what I had on all my Falcons, what I had on both my RX-7s. So yeah, super stoked that I was able to tint my own car. But as you guys can see, it looks so much nicer than the 5%. It is so much better. Moving around to the front, we do have, we have a little spider. That's mad. Have these beautiful big yellow Brambos. I'm pretty sure these were painted after the fact, but yeah, they do look pretty cool. I'm actually a huge fan of the yellow, and these brakes are huge. One thing I did notice is there's a fair bit of a lip on these rotors right here, but once again in the next video, and all those boxes down there, I'll show you all. This car has got the orange indicators as well, which I think looks so much nicer than the white. It kind of just sets the whole front of the car off. And unfortunately, we've lost a fog light lens on the way here. It sucks so much, but oh well, what can you do? So yeah, we're gonna be able to get a new fog light very, very soon. They aren't cheap, but we'll see how we go. I've also opted to take out the rain tray just while it isn't raining here in Melbourne at the moment, which is kind of odd, because having a few little issues with the car. I'm having a few issues with the car. I'm not gonna lie, I'll tell you guys all about that in just a second because it's gonna kind of allude into the next video as well anyway. And that's pretty much it for the exterior. So let's jump into it and yeah, I'll show you guys the interior. I managed to fix the alarm system by simply just disconnecting the horn. That's so much better. So I'll come into the back first. Alrighty, so jumping into the interior, it is absolutely beautiful. There's a few little tiny issues with the car. Unfortunately, there's like a few little cigarette burns, which I could imagine probably happened all the way back in Japan. And yeah, so this side of the seat isn't exactly in the greatest condition. However, the other side is, and it's flawless. Basically everything from here on is absolutely flawless with this car, and the door panels and everything look great. Only the fabric has started to slightly discolor, especially in the front. We've had it discolor a fair bit, but the actual door trims themselves look in fantastic condition. And as you guys can see, we've now got the 18% tint. Is so much nicer than the 5% that we had. I can actually see out of it now, which is great. And the backs of the seats look pretty good, considering this car did have kids in it at one point. Yeah, the back of the seats look great. They don't look too scratched up. Well, they actually don't look scratched up at all, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Plus, all of the fabric just looks incredible. I'm so stoked. Jumping into the front, where all the magic happens. In the front seat, I had a look underneath the black floor mats that were in the car and actually found these. These are the original Mitsubishi EVO floor mats. They are disgustingly faded. Plus all of this is all worn off. They've just been so well used. So unfortunately, we are going to get rid of these, but we're going to be putting probably a set of fitment floor mats in it, but I'm going to get a black and blue checkered throughout the whole thing. I think that's going to look really, really sick. But yeah, unfortunately on this side over here, we've gone fortunately straight through the floor mat there. So that's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? It's the way that these old cars are. It's a 23-year-old car right now, 24-year-old car. So unfortunately, yes, we have to change that out. However, the interior of this car is so incredible. There is not a scratch on the console itself, apart from this little thing down here apparently I've just found, but I could imagine this top piece here is pretty simple to replace. There's a brand new shift boot right here. It looks pretty cruddy, but this is what they all came with. It is weird. I don't know. I've also just put a little cable in there because we don't have Bluetooth, which is annoying. Have a rally-out shift knob. I'm pretty sure it's not legit because it's looking a little bit janky, but I also want to get a shift knob that's going to have the H pattern on it, which I'm pretty stoked about. And then, yeah, all of the standard stuff here. All of the heater controls and all the AC controls all work. It is just incredible. Once again, the door panels are looking amazing as usual. The tint looking so much better. And the only areas of wear that we have is, once again, the floor mats and then some little tiny bits of bolstering on the seats. The rest of it looks just incredible. We have an AEM boost gauge right here. We have a AEM wideband gauge right there, which we're both going to be getting rid of in the next iteration of the build. And we have this beautiful Momo steering wheel, but it's looking in really, really good condition for its age. It's a car that's got roughly about 150,000 Ks on it, and it's a 24-year-old car once again, and there is no signs of cracking or wearing on the steering wheel apart from these little tiny areas where you put your thumbs, but that's okay because we're going to be putting in my old steering wheel, which I'm stoked about. So yeah, this car will be getting a little bit of an upgrade soon. The only vent that's still working is this one right here. Oh, and that one. This one here, she's not looking too crash hot. So yeah, we'll fix that. And then the other side, it's all sorted as well. My radiator sprayer is still working as well. So freaking cool. And I've just found a perfect spot to put my little Heltec rotary switch. Perfect. Alrighty, I guess let's jump into the engine bay. This is where all the magic happens of this beautiful 260 kilowatt EVO 6. So coming into the engine bay, it looks pretty standard across the board. It looks absolutely incredible, and it looks complicated, but it actually is super simple to work on. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a EVO 6 engine bay. This is the first time I've actually seen one, but looking around the car and seeing like just how much area I have to get to all the fueling stuff there, all of like, you can see the ground right there. If I put my foot under it, you can see my toes, mate. But no, there's so much room around this engine bay, and like even down here you can see all the way to the exhaust straight through there. On top of working on the spark plugs and coil packs is literally the easiest thing in the world, and same as the entire fuel system. It's not like a standard RB26 where everything wraps over the top of the engine. It's just perfect. I love everything about it. So starting off with the obvious, we have a set of Denso Yaris coilovers. Coilovers? Yeah, coilovers. Yeah, why not, mate? Denso Yaris coils. These have actually started to create a little bit of an issue with the car. They've been getting very hot, and they have started to cause a horrific misfire to the point where the last time I drove this car a couple of weeks ago, after a nice long big trip back from Calder Park, it was raining and it was a pretty cold night, but even still then I went and sat in the Macca's drive-through, and pretty much the entire way home she was running on 3 cylinders. So managed to sort it out a little bit to the point where I can drive it around, which is great. But yeah, these coil packs have got to go, but that's okay because once again in the next video I will show you guys what we're going to be putting in this. We have an ATP heat shield. As you guys can see right here, this thing is beautiful. Once again, ATP makes some really beautiful stuff, and we're going to be actually getting a airbox from him and then also a catch can from him in the future. However, I haven't ordered them just yet, but I'm definitely going to be getting that for the next iteration of the build. But yeah, what it does is it basically covers the cam angle sensor right here. These are known to give way all the time, so we're going to be yeah, definitely leaving this in here. It looks beautiful. It's nice and powder coated black, and I think it looks great. Definitely suits the build. We have a GFP blow-off valve. Your best bet that that boy is getting deleted. It has a meat hot side as well, and I believe it also has a meat cold side. Don't quote me on that, I wouldn't have a clue. It looks like it's actually a return flow. Is it a return flow? No, it's not. It comes out of there. I wonder where it goes. Must go back and underneath or something. Yeah, sure does. Comes back out straight underneath and then pops up somewhere there. Oh no, goes straight to the bottom of the turbo. Goes around, comes here. Yep, beautiful. I just replaced the plugs in this to BQ7 RES or whatever they're called. It has a meek intake pipe as well, which we are going to be deleting very soon because with the new setup we're not going to be needing the MAF, which is awesome. So yes, we're going to be basically taking all this and making it into a really nice piece of stainless intake goodness for all of the doses. Got a set of Bosch 1000s. I'm pretty sure they're Bosch. They could be Raceworks modified Bosch, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. But yes, as I said, this thing is making 350 horsepower or 260 kilowatts of power, and it is beautiful at all fours. Even in the wet, this thing hooks up, and it is incredible because of those massive big AR1 tires. I thought these AR1s would be a lot worse in the wet in terms of initial hookup, but I can tell you what, on the highway, scariest thing I have ever done is drive on these tires. They are horrific in the wet. But yes, it's got a full Alumo kit. It's disgustingly bright. We're gonna have to get rid of them very soon because I drove it one time at night and everyone was flashing me. It was terrible. But yes, this entire thing still retains the standard airbox. It's got a big GFB blow-off, which I'm pretty sure is externally venting. Yeah, it looks like it. But what I really should do is I really should just block that off and just have some fun with it. But yeah, I forgot the biggest thing as well. This thing here is a GT Pumps 712 turbocharger. As far as I can find out, the turbo is a little bit old. I think it's about 7 years old, and I'm not quite sure whether it's ball bearing or a bush turbo just yet. I haven't been able to actually hear the spool on this thing because it still has, once again, like silicon and the MAF and then the airbox and everything. So everything is out to destroy the sound of this turbo right now. But the GT Pump 712 was a EVO 8 turbo that's basically been high flow to make some decent power. So I'm not quite sure, once again, if it's ball bearing or bush, but I'm pretty sure it's ball bearing, but it's making some great power. It spools nice and quick, and the dyno graph from this thing literally shows it just going whoosh, like my RX-7. The thing pulls disgustingly hard, it doesn't fall off, and it is just amazing. Also, all of that power is made because it is also on full E85 as well. So this thing absolutely hauls ass, and it drinks some fuel. About 250 Ks a tank roughly, and it's okay because the tank's nice and small on this thing, but yeah, it loves to chew the fuels. Alrighty, so that's basically the car. I really want to try to get a car that was sort of had the mods that I wanted to do to the car straight up, but then not too overboard to the point where I can't put my own little spice on it as well. So anyway, gonna have a little bit of a chat about what's going to be happening with the car, why I got it, and where we're going to be traveling with it, because it's going to be good fun. So the plan for the EVO, why I bought it. The main reason that I bought this EVO was because of the BRZ, basically. The BRZ has very quickly become one of my favorite cars, and it is not fast in the slightest. The car is just awesome at everything it does. And after living in Victoria for a while, one thing that we found out very quickly was it rains a lot, it snows very close by, and there are some beautiful driving roads around this place. Plus, track events are everywhere. That's one of the biggest things that I've found about living in Melbourne. And everyone said there wasn't any track events around. We have so many tracks and so many grip events around, and I'm just spoiled for choice. Basically every weekend there is a track event coming up, and I'm really stoked about it. The BRZ has shown me just how much fun a grip car can be. And unfortunately, with the RX-7 being the RX-7 and being dumb expensive, it just wasn't an option for me to take that car out on track. Plus, the track record of rotaries, I don't have the money to fix it if something goes wrong with it. It would have been an incredible car to take around that track, but to take around any track, but just the way that it was set up to the point where I was barely being able to drive it around in traffic without it having issues. Yeah, I just decided to just leave it be and get a new car. Something that's more reliable and something more Mitsubishi shaped. After watching Adam LZ's videos on his EVO the last couple of years and seeing how incredible that car is straight out the box and how reliable it's been, apart from the fact that he blew the engine up with the same power that mine's currently on, yeah, it's definitely just shocked me as one of the cooler cars to get at this price point, as one of the cooler cars to get out on track and be sort of take a car that's a one step up from the BRZ, which is a rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and step up to all-wheel drive turbo 4-cylinder. I just feel like it's going to be a pretty aggressive little track car, and it's going to help me progress my skills out on track. And not only that, because it snows so much around Melbourne, especially at the moment, Sarah and I really want to start going up and venturing more to the snow. We recently just did a nice big trip to Bright with Jacob, Byron, Ben, and Danny, and Sarah. We all went up to Bright, and it was just incredible. And we went through Mount Hotham, and God knows how much I would have wanted to have an EVO up there, because it was just beautiful, and it was extremely wet and foggy and misty and everything, and the BRZ just wasn't capable of going fast in the slightest. However, EVO behind me probably would. And because it's all-wheel drive, we're gonna be taking this thing to the snow, we're gonna be having some fun with it. It's gonna be a great time. We're also gonna be doing a few road trips in the EVO as well. I didn't necessarily buy an EVO that was low Ks. 150,000 Ks is pretty good. It's definitely in the mid-range of how many Ks all of my cars have had. But we do plan on taking this thing on some awesome adventures, most likely to New South Wales and SA, and maybe even up to Queensland and stuff like that, but mainly around Victoria. We're gonna be using this as a winter road trip car, so we can go to places like Bright, we can go up to the snow, we can go anywhere in the EVO, and that's one of the reasons why I'm gonna be taking this thing off the 85 and doing some spicy things to it. So yeah, I got a big box right beside me right now, which is gonna be coming in the next video. So once again, I hope you guys all like the EVO. Please leave a comment down below on what you think we should be doing to the EVO, what you would like to see, what tracks you would like to see us go to, because you best bet that thing is heading to its first track day very, very soon once she gets tuned, and I'm stoked. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.